Good day, this is our latest video update for a Typhoon Muifa. It is the 31st of July 2011, 08:30 Zulu, 4:30 p.m. Philippine time, and 5:30 p.m. Japan time. Sorry. Just before I begin, I just want to quickly update you on Tropical Storm Nok-10. Nok-10 is now dissipating over northern Thailand and into Myanmar. Actually, JMA and JTWC already gave out their final warnings about 6 to 12 hours ago. As for the rainfall rates in Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand, ranging from 50 to 300 millimeters across the region there, with Hanoi reporting around 150 and Vientiane reporting around 60 millimeters of rain. Heavy rain will continue for the region there, for the countries there, for the next few days, as the southwest monsoon will continue to affect those places, and the monsoon activity will continue actually as far east as the Philippines. So yeah, now Nok-10 is now dissipated, and so we can focus now on Typhoon Muifa, or Kabayan. It's located approximately 1,180 kilometers east-northeast of Casiguran, Aurora. Muifa is over the Philippine Sea right now, with maximum sustained winds of 195 kph gusting to 230. Muifa is also beginning to move north-northeastward at 10 kph. Now, if you are closely following this storm, either on our blog or other sources, you might have noticed that you might have known that Muifa rapidly intensified about 24 hours ago, going from tropical storm to a category 5 typhoon in less than 18 hours. Now we're seeing, it seems to be a rapid weakening by the storm. So very interesting developments, weakening now to around Cat 3, Cat 4 in the past 6 hours here. And you can see actually JDWC has a higher wind update on their latest advisory, around 230 kph gusting to 280 for JTWC there. But looking at the visible image, you can see the pinhole eye is almost gone now. You still have that large CDO and the circulation still evident in the image, but you can see a disruption in the cloud cover in the northwestern side. Also, looking at the infrared image, you can see the eye is now gone actually in the infrared. And also those very cold cloud tops that I've told you about on our updates, around negative 80 degrees Celsius now, almost mainly confined now to the southern half of the storm. And also that red circular cloud tops are negative 70 degrees Celsius, also decreasing in terms of coverage. And also the entire activity is now mainly confined to the southern periphery, with the northern half actually being sheared and being eroded by subsidence and dry air because of this upper level trough north of the system. So taking a look at this DIVROC graph. DIVROC is a technique used to rate the intensity of the storms depending on the cloud formation and all of the other data. But you can see we have the rapid intensification here about 12 hours ago, and then it peaked off at around 150 knots, 140 from JTWC, 140 knots about 12 hours ago, and has since dropped dramatically now to around 125, and you can see it is seems to be continuing to weaken. However, looking at the microwave image here, actually this was taken 4 hours ago when you still had that eye. You can also see it seems to be an outer eye wall beginning to take shape. I don't want to assume things here, but it does seem like eye wall replacement cycle is beginning soon enough, and models and the exact timing of this eye wall replacement cycle isn't really understood yet, and isn't that particularly well forecast. by agencies and models, but seeing the trends, just monitoring the system hour by hour, you can see probably see the trends and the activity short term, in terms of short term there. But in terms of re-intensification, I mean, the storm is still in a favorable environment, and very weak shear here, and 5 to 10 knots, and also that sea surface temperature is still very warm near around the Philippine Sea. And what seems to be happening is that I don't know if you remember Typhoon Parma from 2009, but almost had the same characteristic with Muifa, with a very small pinhole eye, and it suddenly collapsed and eroded with it. That eye wall and never recovered really. Now with Muifa here, we still have around let's say 24 hours to go before moving into less favorable environment, the sea surface temperature as well. Looking at the what is called the ocean heat content, not only takes into account the temperature but also the depth of that certain temperature in the ocean. And you can see once it gets past north of Luzon, temperatures and the heat content decrease, and decrease dramatically actually once it approaches Okinawa. But in terms of conditions, this is still somewhat favorable. Could probably sustain that Cat 4 intensity all the way up to approach to Okinawa by day 5. And actually, in terms of maximum potential hurricane intensity, we're still looking around category 5. The areas and the sea surface temperatures and all that can still sustain up to a Cat 5 typhoon, all the way actually up to the Ryukyus there. But this is just taking a look at the sea surface temperatures. We also have to take into account wind shear and dry air and subsidence and all that. In terms of the models, most of them are now forecasting Muifa to begin that weakening trend within for the rest of its lifetime across the ocean here. And well, you can see GTWC, this around 00 Zulu, still maintaining that intensification, but their latest update around 6 Zulu, no longer forecasting a re-intensification there. In terms of track, computer models are now slowly coming into better agreement with regards to the track, and the consensus now actually showing Muifa hitting or just passing just south of Okinawa. So very disturbing and very major significant development from the computer models as they get more data from the ridge and as from Muifa itself. You can see here GFS becoming the northern outlier now, showing Muifa hitting the Ryukyus, and we still have NOGAPS and UK Met models showing Muifa tracking south of Okinawa. We actually have CMC here bringing Muifa all the way up to Okinawa, actually showing a landfall there in terms of the storm center hitting exactly the island by Thursday. And also CMC, which I've showed you many times already in our video updates for Muifa, still very consistent with the track just south of Muifa. I'd say around 200 kilometers south of the island by, you can see there, Friday morning Philippine time. By Thursday morning actually, Muifa will be I'd say less than 400 kilometers southeast of the island, and that strong winds, the strongest winds, typhoon winds of up to 100 knots or more, probably be experienced in Okinawa and also down here in Miyako Islands as the storm center passes between those islands. And you can see also by Saturday it will be moving well to the west of Okinawa, but you can still see some strong winds being affected and being felt across the islands and all the way to Ryukyus actually, and also extends as far south as Taiwan and Batanes Islands in northern Philippines. And also by Sunday, this Euro model, particular model run, is showing Muifa tracking into Shanghai by Sunday next week. So very important, and if it pans out, I mean, we could be seeing large amounts of damage, not only in Okinawa and also here in Shanghai, a major city being hit by a strong typhoon being depicted in the Zero model. But again, it's many days away, and take note that Okinawa is still a very small target and a big ocean here, so expect those tracks to change day by day until perhaps I'd say 48 to 24 hours before the forecast landfall, if it does happen. So, but again, those strong winds, even if stay south and not make landfall, still probably be felt all across the island, and also those strong waves and heavy rain from Muifa beginning Wednesday and to lasting into Friday there. And the difference, again, as I said, coming into better agreement as they latch onto that idea of this ridge. You can see this near equatorial ridge now taking the steering, and we've seen Muifa start to move north the past 6 hours, and once that this ridge moves a little bit eastward, it will act as a blocking mechanism for Muifa, steering it to the west, and you can see these arrows. It will steer it to the west. Again, the timing of this is very important, because it could shift the eventual track by hundreds of kilometers, depending on the strength, as I said. And also, assume we have the ridge over here south of Japan. By Saturday or Friday, Muifa will begin to round the bend, so to speak, and move northward, either across Shanghai or just stay offshore, off of eastern China. But again, those scenario and the timing of all those happening is very important for the forecasts. Also, as I said, expect changes as we continue to get more data and see the trends more. In terms of other agencies, again, as I said, being in terms of the forecast cone, having a less coverage now with JMA, showing Muifa tracking just south of Okinawa by Thursday midday around noon Japan time, and also by Friday it will be well southwest of the island, but you can still see Muifa probably passing less than 200 kilometers south of that island. So those very strong winds probably be felt across the island as well. The strongest of winds actually stand not very far around, just 20 kilometers away from the center, but you can still expect up to category 1 or 2 intensity type of winds if this track pans out. And also you can see this JDWC, a much closer forecast from JMA, and actually showing center moving across the island itself by Friday morning. Also a slower forecast compared to JMA, but still very powerful scenario, and a dangerous scenario being shown by JDWC. So that is the forecast for Muifa. And before I end the video, I just want to quickly briefly mention this invest west of the Philippines, west of Luzon, approximately 200 kilometers northwest of Manila, and Subic actually. And you can see the cloud formation also, and the animation suggests a cyclonic turning actually near Luzon Island. And latest reports from Clark and Subic airports indicating a decrease in pressure. Now the pressure around the areas are around 1004 millibars, so indicating that low pressure is indeed approaching and could be deepening and perhaps intensify. In terms of model support, very few models are expecting this to strengthen, probably a tropical depression at best. You can see this infrared image, most of the convection is still well to the south, also bringing in heavy rain. You can see this Doppler image from Pagasa. See those heavy rain extends as far south as the southern Luzon, Laguna, Batangas, Cavite. Also here in Manila, some heavy rain rates there as well. So this is the forecast, again showing you the latest, the links, especially for those of you in Okinawa, their Kadena weather, very important for the forecast there. So that is